What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over what's been happening today, to go over some of the data points and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate it. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 1.11%. It did have a dip down to $7.89, and I am happy to say that I did buy. That's the beauty of having limit orders and just kind of forgetting about it. So I did buy more at $7.95 because I felt that was a very strong support around that stage. So I'm going to touch on what I mean by that. But that's the beauty of it. Like I said, bigger picture, this is why SoFi is going to do a lot of good things. But based on some of the fib levels, like I've indicated in the past, there is going to be a lot of volatility. So starting off with the technicals, right now it is currently at $8.19. So between this S2 and this S1. And this is exactly why I did place that limit order at that kind of point right here, because this S2 is a very strong support, and I wanted to place it at $7.95 just in case it does break that support, because I feel like anything in the sevens is a scream of a deal, especially based on any of their recent earnings. They are showing huge growth and they don't seem to let up. So once again, that's just what is happening behind the scenes. But $8.87 is that next big resistance that you do need to watch for. And I feel like a lot of analysts are also same mentality as myself, just seeing that there's a lot of good upside with SoFi. So over the last couple of days, there's been some analysts. So Kevin Barker with Piper Sandler did have a $9 price target. He upped it from $8, I believe, and gave a hold rating. And Kevin does have a 62% success rating. So pretty good as far as analysts, in my own opinion, not financial advisor, of course. And then there's Ashwin with Citi, who has a 59% success rating, and they gave a buy rating and a $12 price target. So I think analysts are starting to really warm up to SoFi and do see a lot of potential coming. Similarly, looking at a lot of the 13Fs, a lot of institutions are increasing their position in SoFi. Some have reduced their position, of course. I think that's just broader fears, and keep in mind all these transactions did occur during Q2. At that time though, there was just a lot of just grayness. A lot of people were projecting that it was going to have a massive sell-off, and plus even during Q2, Wedbush did give a rating, I believe that was in Q2, that dropped it down to $4.45. So that was a crazy sell-off, but lucky for those individuals that did buy. But when it comes to today, there actually hasn't been any press releases, no SEC filings, nothing like that. There was this that did come out that's kind of sparking some level of the market. So credit card delinquencies reached pre-pandemic levels in July. And this is kind of matching with the retail sales. So retail sales did come out on Tuesday, and that was very, very high. So once again, it kind of signaled that consumers were out there spending the money, but people are assuming that everything's going to be fine, that they would technically pay off all their debt. But based on some of these numbers, it is growing at pretty substantial rates. So this is where, once again, a lot of people are getting fearful. But let me know you guys' thoughts on all this in the comments below. When it comes down to looking at SoFi's multiples, it is still very, very cheap in comparison. So 4.3x is the current PS, and 3.4 is the future, which in my opinion, compared to even a lot of the other fintechs, is just completely cheap, my own opinion, like I said. But when it comes down to some of the data points, market's been open around 2 hours, but this is the info from yesterday. Actually, this is Lucid, so I'll just quickly pop over to SoFi. So based on today, though, there's currently $1.66 million in calls being purchased versus 1.69 million in puts. Majority of the puts were clearly first thing in the morning when there was that sell-off that did occur, but I do feel that a lot of people are seeing this as a bounce play, and that it did also, based on the technicals, bounce off of this S2. So I think bigger things might be coming based on that. As far as this, so if you are optimistic, this is all the calls, which this does show the strike prices, expiry dates, and based on this, it is anticipated to go between the $8 to $9 range next week. So kind of within range of what we are. So especially going back over here, this S2 to this S1. As far as big money getting in, of course, Fridays are typically lower volume. And so we've only had 5 transactions over $100,000 on the secondary market. So kind of normal in that regard. And as you can tell, based on the bid and the ask, all of these were buys. So the dip got bought up very, very fast. And when it comes down to dark pool, even this one is abnormally quiet. So I don't know if people are just taking a break today. I'm not necessarily sure, because even looking at the volume, it is fairly good for the first, like I said, hour and a half to 2 hours. So 10.31 million shares being traded, 27.64 is the average. And based on this so far, 56% of all the volume has been redirected off of the exchange, meaning the dark pool. So like I said in the past, just some signs of good old manipulation, as I always say. But when it comes down to it, let me know you guys' thoughts on this options activity. Do you agree with, for instance, 56% of all the transactions today being bullish? Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? What's your kind of viewpoint on that? But when it comes down to shorts, I'll give you guys a quick overview on that. And once again, I just bring this up like I've said in the past. I don't see SoFi being a short squeeze at all. I'm just bringing this up merely as a kind of a benchmark. But short score is currently 56. Utilization is 23.35%. And looking right here, shorts are returning some shares. So the fact that they are returning on a green day kind of shows that they do see bigger things coming, kind of matching with the options activity like I mentioned. But 13.98% of the free float is being shorted, and I feel like over the next quarter that does also need to go down. So even based on, I think it was the Q4 2022 earnings, that is where the short interest did reach a tentative, I guess, low of around 10%. And I feel like it does need to get back to that level once again. But 112.73 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow is just complete pennies, and most likely similar to what has happened over the last several days, you do see cost to borrow minimum more so near the afternoon levels being negative. So that's more of a sign of manipulation. Clearly, the fact that brokers are physically paying people to short SoFi. So a lot of interesting stuff when it comes down to it, but let me know your guys' thoughts and give yourself a shout out if you have been buying over the last little bit or selling, or where do you guys see things going. So like I said, I think the fact that it did bounce off of this very strong support, it most likely will be, unless there is some other negative news that does come out for the broader market, I do feel that this is time for it to really trend up higher and hopefully touch this S1. So maybe that might be the next stop for SoFi, $8.87, but I don't feel right now the market is ready to push a lot of the fintechs higher. But that's just my own opinion, of course. And a couple of things just wanted to show you as well. Number of retail investors are just completely getting out. They've been getting out ever since it looks like the 31st, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. At the same time, though, institutions were also similarly taking a step back. So I don't know. Maybe there was some memo that I missed, like I've said in the past. But stochastic is currently at 3, and that is considered very oversold. So once again, giving more justification for SoFi to really rally based on if a little optimism or a little piece of news that does come out specific to SoFi, then yeah, this could easily go up very fast and potentially, like I said, touch that 887. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below and also the comments. And with that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a ton of money on SoFi.